Hello and welcome to Front Row Racing. It's Thursday night, which means it's time for the Front Row Racing World Series Round 17 in Mexico. At the circuit, I nearly said Circuit of the Americas because I'm looking at the wrong page. At the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the World Series drivers will be heading off there in a few moments' time to see how they get on around the newly modified circuit. I'm old enough to remember the original. Fantastic racetrack that was, and I must admit I prefer the older version than the newer version, as many people do. If you're over the age of about 15, you probably do, although actually and realistically it's probably about 20 years ago that they last raced there. Anyway, I'm from a Racing DP, otherwise known as Dave Lays in Beds. I'll be doing commentary this evening, and joining me in the commentary box is Ray Joe Brooks. How are you this evening, Ray?
Oh, very well. How's yourself?
Oh, I'm not too bad, apart from, as I mentioned to you, I've nearly run out of loo roll, so I might have to make a late night shopping trip. Okay.
After how many you've done already?
Well, yeah, I've been out to the shop so many. I was saying to you, I'm having one of those days where, like, I go to the shop, get what I need, come back, they give me the wrong stuff, I go to the shop, sort that out, come back, realise I've got no loo rolls. Oh, great. Right, okay, one of them days. Anyway, I'm going to quickly go through the results from last week, USA round 16. And if you're an avid watcher and you've got your eyes open enough, you'll spot something on the screen at the moment which might come as a bit of a surprise, but I'll come to that in a few moments' time. Hindle took victory in America with Hybrid Nuke in second place, and the reserve driver of Lefty Hardtail in the Killer Acorn Mercedes team taking third place. Dave the Harp, fourth place. Rickster, fifth. Front Row Racing GP, sixth. And in seventh place was the reserve driver for Underdog Racing Red Bull, that was RDB. In 8th place was Richie Davey, in 9th place his teammate Andy Russell, and in 10th place was Adam 4600. Charlie in 11th place did not finish, Farfborough in 12th place also did not finish, and K-Slay in 13th place also did not finish. And unfortunately for Mr. Hamilton 44, he did receive a disqualification from last week's event. He didn't have full footage of his event. The drivers are allowed a certain amount of laps that they can be penalised for, and then it gets to a point where it's like, right, okay, you've got too many missing, it's a disqualification. Unfortunately, he reached that limit, but I believe what one of his problems was, and this would be useful information for any of the drivers in FRI days or even in the World Series, verified his YouTube account. So it would only allow him to upload a video that was 14 minutes 59 seconds long, not a video that was 15 minutes long. So anyway, there we go. Driver of the day was Killer Acorn's reserve driver, that was Lefty Hardtail. A great showing as a reserve driver, placing it on the front row of the grid and gaining plenty of points for the team. He has shown he has got what it takes to race in the World Series. Team of the day went to Killer Acorn Mercedes AMG, a fully deserving team of the day, a fantastic points haul that brings them ever closer in the fight for second place in the constructors' standings. Both drivers should celebrate that one and see what the team can achieve in Mexico. Now on to what we've got on the screen, and that is Hindle with his reserve driver teammate of John 94 Rhinos. Yes, that's correct, folks. Hybrid Nuke is not racing this evening. I had a bit of a chat with him earlier on today, and here were his non-race comments. With personal reasons, I will not be I will not be available for this race. I'm sure Rhinos will go out and show us all what he has got, and I'm looking forward to hearing his result. Obviously, this means Hindle has won. There are no hard feelings, and I have been the first to congratulate him. An excellent drive by him throughout the season. Now, okay, in Hybrid Nuke's mind, Hindle has won the title. However, mathematically, and we have to go on that one, Hindle needs to score 1 point to make it mathematically impossible for Hybrid Nuke to challenge him in the last 2 races. So that's the breaking news for this evening. If Hindle scores 1 point, he becomes the Front Row Racing World Series Season 6 champion. Okay, what time are we on, Ray?
We're left half past.
Okay, hit that ready button and we'll get the drivers heading off to the racetrack. I'll go and grab my controller that I've left on the other side of the room. Now I will go through the constructors' standings, but while we're waiting for the drivers to head over to the track, I will mention that yes, John 94 Rhinos is in as a reserve driver for Hybrid Nuke. Acorn 95 has said he may be late this evening. RDB is in as a reserve driver for Ant 69 again, and Adam 4600 has also said he may be late this evening. Let's see, Scuderia Ferrari, we've got K-Slate, he'll be hoping for a better race than last week, and Mr. Hamilton 44 is in as a reserve driver in Ferrari this week for Front Row Racing GP, who is in Spain. He's on holiday this week, so Mr. Hamilton 44 gets a drive in the Ferrari. In the McLaren team, we've got Will Butler taking his first reserve drive alongside Rickster, the regular driver in the McLaren team. And then let's see, we've got Andy Russell and Richie Davey from Racing NW and Farfba. So let's get the drivers over to the track then for the Front Row Racing World Series Round 17 Mexico Grand Prix. Now, I will go through the current standings. I'm going to do that right now. Hindle, as we know, is leading the way, but I'm just waiting for Ray to go, oh look, it's raining. So is it going to be raining, Ray?
Not long now until
Yeah, it's nice and sunny.
It's beautifully sunny here in Mexico, and the drivers they'll like that. I don't think there'll be many of the drivers today, and I think a lot of the drivers are actually not looking forward to this one. Oh, I see what you just seen. Yeah, so sunny at the moment, but it could rain a little later on. So that'll be definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, a little bit of information for you from Hindle. He has said he's not going to go out in qualifying. So we're not expecting to see Hindle out there in qualifying. I think he wants to give himself a bit of a challenge. He doesn't need to go and win this one. He only needs to go and score a point. So he's going to go start from the back of the grid and hopefully try and enjoy himself. Right, current standings. Hindle leads the championship standings on 324 points. He is 50 points ahead of his teammate Hybrid Nuke, who is on 274. Front Row Racing GP is in third place on 163, and Rickster and Dave the Harp are both on 128 points, so they are sharing fourth place. In 6th place we have K-Slay on 103 points, and in 7th we have Acorn 95 on 67. There's a big gap between 6th and 7th place there. Richie Davies in 8th place on 58 points, and Ant 69 is in 9th place on 40 points, and he's joined by his teammate on exactly the same amount of points, so they're sharing 9th place. In 11th we've got Andy Russell, he's on 30 points, and in 12th place we have Charlie, and he's got 27. 13th and 14th is the Mana Marusha drivers, that's from Racing NW on 15 points, and Farfba on 9. On to the Constructors' Championship standings, and we've got Victoria's Secret Williams Racing. They've already been confirmed as Constructors' Champions some races ago. They're on 598 points, so if they score a couple of points they can at least say they've reached the 600 mark as well. Midlands Madness Ferrari are in second place on 274 points, and this is a battle that is going to play out today, I think, because third place Killer Acorn Mercedes are only 9 points behind them on 265. In fourth place we've got Charles McLaren Honda on 175 points, they're fairly safe in that position. And then in fifth place we've got Underdog Racing Red Bull on 98. In sixth place Godolphin Sauber on 94 points, and in seventh place we have Nightfall Mana Marusha on 60 points. So that's the points done, all that's sorted. So Ray, why don't you let myself and the viewers know what sort of lap times were done in the World Series last season around this circuit?
Last season in qualifying was a 117.032 by Hybrid Nuke in a dry. in the race it was a 118.366 by Conzo 1993 in the dry, and Conzo's in World Championship now, so
he is. I tell you what, it'd be interesting, to find out whether Conzo actually went faster last night than he did last season in the World Series. He may not have done, because I think the temperatures were a lot colder last night compared to last season. Anyway, Andy Russell, he's crossed the line, just put himself in first place. I didn't really see what his lap time was. Casely's in his Ferrari that's sounding a little bit unhealthy. I'm not sure what the Ferrari boys did to this engine yesterday, but they might be swapping it out for another engine soon. But Casely's gone through. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Hamilton's just went pole position.
Okay, what was his Sector 1 time, Ray? And I will compare that to what Casely is on at the moment.
22.4.
That's exactly what Casely has done. Sector 2 time?
28.3.
Okay, let's find out what Casely's going to do. It's a 28.9, so it is a little bit slower. Now, when I caught up with Casely earlier on today in the press area, I wanted to get a little bit of an insight of what happened in his race from last week and his race comments for this week. He was so unlucky with his disqualification last week, involved in a collision which he didn't even really know was going to be happening. He was off the track. He didn't want to reverse onto the track, so he let the car roll back onto the track when no one was near him, because he didn't want to drive forward and cut the corner. And because the car's rolling backwards, he got disqualified, and he's just gone and put himself second place. But Casely's comments for today: hoping for a dry race, and would be nice to end the season with a few good results, and don't roll backwards. Now, as Ray mentioned, Mr. Hamilton 44 is in provisional pole position at the moment, and he is also into the pits. But Rickster, he's just gone and stolen second place. Do you think he'll go on for a second flying lap, Ray, or do you think these guys are going to be just going for the one?
I think it'll be the one, because the tyres could get chewed up in the twisty sections, the S's, sorry.
Well, that they can. I don't know if you've seen any drivers out on the prime tyres yet. I mean, I was racking my brain yesterday about what to do for strategy in the dry, and I'd kind of worked it out that the best way for the tyres is to only do the one run on the option tyres in qualifying, and you can afford to do the 2 flying laps. With the wet weather, that kind of ruined that. But I tell you what, I think Rickster, it is kind of a semi-hot lap. A Sector 1 of a 22.6, a Sector 2 of a 28.4. And when we had a word with Rickster earlier on today, whereas most people are feeling a little bit, I don't like this track, Rickster's different. He says, feeling strong at this one, hoping my connection holds up and can take the fight to the Williams. Well, they're going to be one's going to be starting at the back, and the other one we don't know about yet. I've seen from practice that a fair few of us are on a similar pace at this circuit, so the race should be a fun one. Now, he has still stayed in second place. Casely is in the pits. Dave the Harp, he's coming through Sector 1. Now, Ray, what was it Dave the Harp had to say when we were picking his bones earlier today?
Take each race as it comes. Don't know what's going to happen. Just let them keep racking the penalties up. I will gain places as usual.
Well, it's interesting he says that, because I'm fairly sure, I can't remember exactly, but I am fairly sure he did gain places last week on last week's result because of other drivers having penalties. So, I mean, our results, they are provisional results. But David Harp is currently gone 5th place. So let's see who else we have out on track. RDB coming through the final sector. He is on the prime tyre, and he's currently in 10th place. So he's going to be going for another flying lap here. Either that or he's just finishing one. Let's see, 1:19.4 takes him up to 7th place. Now, RDB had, I think, an interesting race at last week's event. And when I had a word with him earlier on today, he didn't really want to talk to me. No, I'm only messing. I was just saying that to give myself a chance to find the comments. As always, I hope to stay out of trouble. The first couple of laps, I feel I have pretty strong pace, wet or dry, around this circuit. Thanks to Ant for giving me another drive. Hope you're fit and healthy again soon, mate. Good luck to all the teams and drivers. And having said that, Ant69 is not racing again this evening. I mentioned a few weeks ago that he has got a bit of a fragile bone condition, and he has broken a few bones. He did tell me that in his life he has broken 200 bones. Now, I haven't broken one. Although technically the nose isn't a bone, so I can't count that one. So I have broken no bones, and then you've got Ant that has broken 200, and he's probably only about 20 years old. But I have been talking to Ant quite a bit, and one of the things that Ant did say to me the other day was, he said, I'd like to give RDB my races till the end of the season, please, and give my spot up so I can try to get fixed. He would be a good permanent driver next season. Once I'm good, if I can, I will do the FRI Days races and earn my way back in, if that's... Now, what I've said to Ant69 is, totally understand, mate, that we'll do with RDB is... Seeing as we're right near the end of the season, we'll have it as he can come in and do reserve drives as he pulls off the track. And talking about reserve drives, I'm now on board with John Rhinos, who gets to take his first reserve drive of his front row racing career. And he is a driver that has been improving a lot over the course of the FRI Day season. I mean, we've talked a lot, Ray, when we've done FRI Days about seeing guys improve, and John is one of those guys, isn't he?
Yes, I can't remember what the start was like, but I think he asked for feedback, and then we gave him it, and he went and started improving.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would admit it himself. He's probably not going to go and set pole position lap times, but he's a guy that has improved and improved and improved. He's got better, he's gone from being lap or two down in the FRI Days to being smack bang in the midfield. That's the improvement he's made, and some might think that's not much of an improvement. It really, really is. So for John Rhinos, I hope he has an excellent event here from Racing NW, making his way into the pits. Now, Mr. Hamilton 44, I'm not sure if he's just put in another lap time, but he's just finished one. Rickster's just starting one. Richie Davey, we've not caught up with him yet today. Sector 1 and 2 looking a bit slow, so I don't know if he's on an in-lap or building himself up for one, but he's currently in third place. And Ray, why, seeing as Richie Davies' pre-race comments was such a long message, why don't you let the viewers know what Richie had to say?
Do the race with no penalties.
And there's the really long message from Richie Davey about his pre-race comments. Okay, let's see. Will Butler...
Just
Sorry,
to
go on.
update you.
Yep.
Mr. Hamilton 44 has beat previous last season's qualifying.
Fantastic. We will try and ride on board with Mr. Hamilton 44 fairly soon. But Will Butler, he is just coming into the stadium section. Will Butler is another driver that is in for his first reserve drive. He's another FRI Days driver that's been given the opportunity this week, and he's just about to cross the line. He's currently sat in 6th place. Can he improve? No, unfortunately he can't. When I had a word with him earlier on today, I think he's quite excited about having the opportunity to race as he makes his way down into turn 1, heavy braking zone there. Yeah, he was. He said feeling excited and nervous. Had to miss the FRI Days race around here, so not had much time to practice. Also, not a track I really enjoy, but looking forward to the opportunity to race with the World Series lads. Now, he's just done a Sector 1 time of a 23.2, but unfortunately his lap has been invalidated, but if he gets to start in 6th place, I think he'll be fairly pleased with that.
Yeah, I'd be pleased, but I'd be a bit nervous of the position of the cars around me. Definitely.
And one of the things I kind of know, a lot of the reserve drivers will say to their teammate before the race gets going, one of the questions is usually, right, who do I have to watch out for on the grid? who's going to give me a bit of room, who's going to cut me up, who's going to be quick, who's going to be not so quick. So when, like for example, if the guys have not been watching these races and they're following Richie Davey, they're not going to have a clue what he's going to do when they go onto the straight. But we all know what Richie Davey's going to do when he gets onto the straight. If he's got a car behind him, don't we, folks? He's going to be the Richie Davey defensive line. Okay, Farfber, he's on option tyres. He's heading down to turn 1. And when, well, every week I ask Farfber for his pre-race comments, and I think he's become a bit sort of muted. He doesn't. I think he doesn't like jinxing himself. He's a bit of a Kimi Raikkonen, just sits there licking an ice cream. And unfortunately for him, his lap time has been invalidated. So let's see. NW's back in the pits. Mr. Hamilton 44 is going out again, Ray. Keep an eye on him for me, because I would like to get his next flying lap. Let's see, David Hart's back out on track. Andy Russell, another driver who doesn't like speaking to the media, wiggling his steering wheel as he makes his way down to turn 1. And seeing as he hasn't put in any pre-race comments, I reckon it's about time we get on to a sort of question of the day, right? It's a little bit of a cheeky one, this, but I was watching a TV programme the other day, and this is a word that was from an oldish dictionary. So, Ray, this was for you. In an old dictionary, what is a bum brusher?
A bum brusher?
A bum brusher.
I don't know. Somebody brushes somebody's back or bum.
Well, that's what you'd think, isn't it? And I'm sure, like viewers, if you want to try and answer that, feel free to do so, but please try and make it not too rude, because it isn't rude, honest to God. But yeah, I mean, I heard it on a TV programme last night. I thought, okay, that's going to be my question of the day. Okay, Andy Russell, he's coming into the final sector. Let's see, 23.2, 29.2 into the final corner. He's currently in 8th place. Let's see if he can jump up the grid at all. I mean, for someone like Andy Russell and Richie Davey, I mean, I think they may be thinking about switching cars for next season, but 8th place it is for him. Ray, this is the bit you were meant to ask me your question of the day.
Oh, sorry, I was cheating, I was Googling.
You were Googling the answer. That's disgraceful. Farfber is off the track. Right, I'm going to go on board with Mr. Hamilton 44. He's had his lap invalidated. I can't believe, Ray, you sat there Googling them. You do realise if you Google a bum brusher, you're probably going to end up on some really dodgy website. Okay, Mr. Hamilton 44, this flying lap, it's over for him. Nothing he can do about that. K-Slay is out on another flying lap. David Harp is about to complete one. Well, he's not looking too quick through the final corner. That's because he's heading to the pit lane. Will Butler starting another flying lap. So let's ride on board with Will Butler. And when Ray's ready, we'll let him ask him his question of the day.
My question was, what do you think about the Daniel Kia and Max Verstappen
So, well,
switch around with...
Oh, Will Butler, sorry, all out of shape. Yeah, so thoughts on Danny Kvyat and Max Verstappen switched around? I tell you what, I know what my thoughts are. What are your thoughts on it, Ray?
It was only a couple of bums. What's the point? If I was Daniel, I would be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It was only a couple of bums. I wouldn't be happy within the team.
No, I'd agree with you on that one. I really would. If you're Danny Kvyat, you're going to be wanting to know, hang on a minute, I've seen people in your cars crashing people off left, right and centre, and I've seen how Max Verstappen's behaved, and you're going to take me out the seat and give it to him? I got you a podium at the previous race. So I kind of agree with you on that one. But then I tried thinking a little bit outside the box, which was, I remember, as I'll try and see, Will Butler's the only one out on track at the moment. there used to be a time where F1 drivers, their contracts weren't a year long. They could get pulled out of the car at any point. I mean, a good example of it is Niki Lauda. When he came back from his retirement, he was only offered a 3-race contract, and if he didn't perform, he was done, he was out. He went on to win the championship that year, and he turned around to McLaren and says, right, now you can pay me as a full driver. So drivers were switched and changed all the time. So I think for many people it's a bit of a surprise and a shock, but in the history of Formula One, it's nothing unusual. For Verstappen, it's great. For Fiat, you wouldn't be happy. But viewers, let us know what you think on that situation. Right, Mr. Hamilton 44 does take pole position. Rickster 2nd place, Richie Davey 3rd, K-Slay 4th, Dave the Harp 5th, Will Butler 6th, RDB 7th, Andy Russell 8th, John Rhinos in 9th, Farfbert 10th, Florida Racing NW in 11th, and Hindle will start at the back of the grid in effectively 12th place. It doesn't look like Adam 4600 and Acorn joined us, unless I didn't spot the message pop up to say that they had. So we could be in for an absolutely cracking race here. Rickster will be delighted. He'll be wondering what Hindle's doing at the back of the grid. But for Rickster, he's had the pace in recent races to get pole position, front row of the grid, been disconnected, started at the back. This time around, he's starting up at the front, but it's got an unknown in the way of Mr. Hamilton 44. I don't think Rickster will have raced side by side with him at any point, so turn 1 could be very, very interesting. Now, we've got beautiful sunshine here, but as Ray mentioned when we were in the pit boxes in the garages, it said that it could be showers later, so we'll have to keep an eye on the skies to see if the weather is going to change. And if it does around here, it'll either change very, very quickly or it'll take its time. And because the temperatures are so hot here, it could start raining, but you could still run slicks for a while. Anyway, Ray, 20 seconds. Any predictions on this race?
Rickster.
Oh, Rickster, interesting. Now, if you're looking at my screen here, strategy, that says 3-stop. It's actually a 4-stop because the prime one is off the screen. So a 4-stop is possible here. It can be quick. A 3-stop is also doable, but if you're going to do a 3-stop, you've got to go long on your tyres at some point. But anyway, it's now time for the Formula Racing World Series Mexico Grand Prix. We've got 5 lights, and away they go. So as they now make their way down to turn 1, and it looks like we may have a little bit of drama going on in the middle of the field already. We'll try and get on board with someone. Let's see. Let's go for Mr. Hamilton. So Rickster's on pole, and it's giving me a really dodgy camera angle there. I do apologise about that, folks. Oh, we've got Sauber spinning. I think that may have been Sauber on Ferrari there, and the Sauber now facing the wrong direction. And we've got another car having spun. That looked like it could have been a McLaren. So Rickster, he's leading the way. Where is Mr. Hamilton 44? Oh yeah, he's in a Ferrari. He's not in a Mana Marussia this week. So Rickster leads the way. Mr. Hamilton 44, 2nd place. K-Slay 3rd. It's Andy Russell in 4th place. That means it's Richie Davey that ended up facing the wrong direction. RDB, he's in 5th place with Dave the Harp all over the back of him. And Farfber, who's gone from 10th place up to 7th place by the time they get into the S's on the first lap.
And John Rhinos is holding up Hindle.
It will be absolutely... Well, John Rhinos will be absolutely loving that. Hindle might not be. I wouldn't be surprised though if John does say, go on mate, you go through, I'll try and follow you. And then half a lap later go, okay, I can't follow you. Just tell me what you're doing. But yeah, okay, so lap 1 just about coming to an end. We'll see if we've still got Rickster leading the way. No, he's in 2nd place because Mr. Hamilton 44 is up the inside into turn 1. That Ferrari looking like it's got a good straight line speed. How's it going to handle in the corners? Rickster gets the better entry, but who's going to get the better exit? K-Slay, he's dropped back a little bit from these two up at the front now, but he may be just looking after his tyres a little bit, looking after his fuel. But Mr. Hamilton 44, he's got past Rickster and he's opening up a little bit of a gap. RDB in 5th place. Sorry, go on.
Hindle got Farber in turn 1, so he's up to 7th place, and he's catching up on Dave the Harp.
Okay, well, Dave the Harp, he's stuck behind a Red Bull at the moment, and that Red Bull is RDB, who's running on the prime tyres. But RDB is able to keep on the back of Andy Russell in 4th place, who's running option tyres at the moment. So for Dave the Harp, he could really do with getting ahead of that Red Bull, who's just gone massively wide. They're going to have to do an ETO lift. That's going to give Dave the Harp a chance. But Hindle's there as well, having a look around the outside, going for the switchback, sneaks through. That's a beautiful move by Hindle. Around the both of them, but RDB makes contact. Now Dave makes contact, and Farfber makes contact. A calamity of errors there, or a comedy of errors, but that's going to rack up that pack now. And Richie Davey, yep, he's right back in the middle of this now, as he's side by side with John Rhinos and manages to get ahead. Now let's see, is that Dave the Harp? I think I saw Dave the Harp being very, very close to the pit wall there. Dave the Harp was doing a Richie Davey defensive line, was he, Ray?
Well, Paul wasn't close to him, but he was doing it.
Well, any slipstream is an extra bit of speed, so to be able to completely stay out of it is going to benefit. Okay, leading 3, pulling away. A little bit of a gap between the 3 of them. Hindle, he's up to 4th place now. He's just got past Andy Russell, but Andy Russell is trying to fight back on him. And I tell you what, I mean, Andy Russell, he's a driver that in the early stages of the season, he did look like he struggled quite a bit. But as the season has progressed, he has shown himself to have a considerable amount of pace. Just not a lot of luck as Hindle runs a little bit wide. But yes, Andy Russell, what, Ray, keep an eye on Hindle and just see if that gap comes down.
But the move on, that was a late dive bomb.
Well, you need to tell me who, Ray, because I've no idea who you're talking about.
Paul and Richard Davey. Richard Davey had overtaken Paul, but on the break, Paul far too late.
Sorry, Ray. I need to interrupt you a second, mate. Your microphone's breaking up, and I can't hear you too well. But just behind Paul, we've got RDB trying to attack 9th or 10th place John Rhinos. So if it gives me a decent camera view, I'd be able to show you that move, but instead it's giving me a right dodgy one. But I think Ray was trying to say there that Paul and Richie Davey were having a bit of a tussle through some of the corners, and one of the drivers on the brakes a little bit too late. But RDB in 9th place, John Rhinos in 10th place, and Ferrari Racing NW is right on the back of them, and I'm fairly sure that he is running the prime tyres at the moment. He is, so if he can keep this pace up on the prime tyres, when he goes and puts the option tyres on, he could be considerably faster. Will Butler's quite a way back. I don't know if he's had to make a pit stop for repairs, but he has got a very, very clear track at the moment. Okay, are you back with us, Ray?
Can you make it properly?
A little bit better, but you are still breaking up a bit. Paul's session is over. Go on, Ray, what did you see there?
It looked like an unsafe return to the track, and then he just left. So I don't know if he was in control at the time or not.
Well, it may have been a disqualification. We do know that you can get disqualified for an unsafe return to the track. But Mr. Hamilton 44, he's leading the way at the moment from Rickster, who's in 2nd place, 4 seconds off the lead. Casely is another nearly 2 seconds behind, but looks like he's closing in on Rickster a little bit over the last couple of laps. Hindle, he was about 8-9 seconds off the leader last time I was on board with him. Let's find out how far he is now. 9.3 seconds, so I don't think he's pulling in that gap just yet. But then we've got 5th place Andy Russell. He's got Dave the Harp all over the back of him, and then Richie Davey in 7th place, who is trying to close in on the Mercedes that's hunting down his teammate.
Yeah, I'm just watching that battle going on. Richard Davey was close at turn 2 and 3, and then just as we came past turn 4, he seemed to fall back a bit.
Well, it could be set up, giving him a little bit of a lack of grip through those slower corners. But Andy Russell could be under attack here from a DRS-activated Mercedes in the form of Dave the Harp. He's closing. I don't know if he's closing enough, though, to make any kind of a move. He is. Andy's going defensive. and Dave going to try and go all the way around the outside and just about manages to do it now as the inside for the next corner. He is now ahead, so that's Andy Russell down to, I was going to say 5th place, but Rickster, he's pitted. Rickster has made a stop. End of lap 5. Gone to the prime tyre. That is exactly what I was going to do yesterday if it had been dry. Go to the end of lap 5 on your option tyres, bolt on a set of primes. What you do with those set of primes is what could make or break Rickster's race now. Because on those prime tyres he could be faster than the cars that are on the options ahead of him, because their tyres are going to be dying. Now, I'm fairly sure, Ray, you were trying to say yesterday you did do a bit of a test session around here. So how did you get on with the tyres around this track?
I wasn't on that long enough to see how long they would last. It was mostly the fronts where when you were hitting the brakes they were going through the colours coded, whether green, yellow, and then just a dark orange, so I don't know if my setup was too harsh on the front tyres.
It could have been. Sorry to interrupt a second. Richie Davies closing in on Dave the Harp. Is he going to have a look into turn 1? He's having a look, but he can't go for the move. But Dave's given him room. He's sent himself a little bit deep, and that's allowed Richie Davies through. That's why it's worth having that sneaky little look. See if you can put the driver off. Have them make their own mistake, and now that could give Andy Russell half a chance of attacking Dave the Harp. No, he's not quite close enough. Just behind them, RDB in 6th place with Rickster in 8th place, and I tell you what, there's a Ferrari behind that McLaren, and that's Casely. Now, even though the Rickster did pit a lap or two before Casely has closed that gap in, but Rickster's at that point now where he's got traffic ahead of him. He needs to get ahead of RDB, but RDB's on a set of prime tyres that he's been holding option tyre runners up since nearly the start of the race, and his prime tyres could be good for a few more laps as Rickster runs terribly wide there. Oh, we've had a huge crash. That was a Mercedes and a Sauber. I think that may have been Dave the Harp. Yeah, I think Dave the Harp's got no front wing. Okay, so it was. Ray, have a look, see if Richie Davies got damage on his car. We're kind of 2 by 2 around the final corner at the moment. So it's no front wing for Dave the Harp. It's no front wing for Richie Davey, but Rickster, he's now all over the back of RDB, about to make a move into turn 1. I mean, it's a bit of an odd place to have a crash where they did, but a crash is what they've had, and it looked like a fairly big one, causing quite a bit of damage as Rickster has now moved himself up to 3rd place, but RDB is going to fight back, but Rickster will have DRS here. No, he hasn't. RDB's got the... They've both got the DRS. Interesting, they both had DRS because the crash happened ahead of them, closed up the field, gave them cars right in front of them that gave them both DRS. But now Rickster and RDB have had a little bit of a coming together, and now RDB is facing the wrong direction. He won't be overly pleased about that one, and Casely would have had a good view of that one, but he would have hoped that it would have spun Rickster as well. Okay, he is, and Ray, your microphone is starting to break up a little bit again. So Mr. Hamilton 44 at the end of lap 8 goes for a set of prime tyres. Hindle, end of lap 8, he's going for a set of prime tyres. 3rd place Rickster coming around the final corner now, the Mansell curve. Is he going to be able to jump Hindle at all? He should be able to, but it all depends on how much he got held up in traffic there. He is just about going to get ahead. Can Casely get ahead as well? No, I don't think he can. Now, both of Rickster and Casely should have been able to have a bigger gap there, but having that collision in front of them, the traffic into the final corner, it's cost them quite a bit of time. But for Mr. Hamilton 44, he's now comfortably leading this race. But it means we've got a battle for second. Rickster, Hindle, Casely. Rickster's been on his prime tyres since the end of lap 5. When is he going to pit? And when is anybody going to find out what the meaning, in the old dictionary, a bum brusher was? Actually, Ray, what did you find when you looked on Google for that?
Schoolmaster.
Absolutely spot on. It's a schoolmaster. Hindle going for the move on Rickster up the inside into the baseball stadium. Can't quite get it done though. Rickster hanging it on around the outside there. He knows he can't allow Hindle to just come past him and drive away. He needs to hold on and fight for the position. But Hindle's going to have DRS now and potentially a very easy overtake into turn one. Ray, have we got anything else happening a little bit further down the grid as Hindle is now going up the inside and he is now ahead into turn one. A little bit of too easy an overtake with DRS available, but if Rickster can stay close, he could fight back in the next lap.
That's quite spread out further down the field. As Hindle and Rickster are getting a wee bit spread out. We've got RB coming about the pit, so he's went on a grab, and he's got Joy Rhinos coming down by side coming into turn one. Joy Rhinos got the overtake done. RDB later on the brakes, and he's had to back out of it and let Joy Rhinos out of position.
Okay, Ray, I think your dog may have been chewing your cable a bit. From a racing NW, he just ran a little bit wide on the outside of turn 3. That's allowed Richie Davey to sneak past him. Richie Davey, after having that collision, change of front wing, is now on the prime tyre. He'll probably be wanting to take these as long as he can, and just ahead of these, RDB is even closer to John Rhinos than they were on the exit of the pits. He's all over the back of him, but John Rhinos, he's now on the prime tyre, whereas RDB is now on the option tyre. He's going to try and make the move early. He's now on the outside. We saw Ricks to defend the outside. John Rhinos defended the inside. Took a very cautious tight line there, kind of gifted the position a little bit, but John's aim in this race is a little different to some. He's just here to have fun and score some points for the Williams team and show what he can do, but it also means he could get DRS now and have a look at attacking into turn one. But with RDB now on the option tyres and going very, very defensive, it means that John hasn't got any of the slipstream.
Yeah, he went for a wee bit of cracking there.
Okay, I mean, he was taking the Richie Davey defensive line to a whole new level. Now, Ray, I don't know if you want to have a look and let us know what any of the viewers, what their thoughts are about the Danny Kvyat and the Max Verstappen situation. I mean, I do find it to be a very interesting one. I think there'll be a lot of F1 drivers that think that Red Bull have been a little bit harsh there. There'll be plenty of people that think, oh, they've only done it because Vettel went and had a word with Horner on the pit wall, or all those kind of things. But it could just simply be that Red Bull going, well, look, hang on a moment, not only did you ruin your own race, you ruined your teammates' race as well. Okay, you ruined your former... Basically, you're in the car of the guy who won us 4 world championships, and okay, you crashed into him once, that's acceptable, that happens, but you then went and crashed into him again, that's not acceptable. Okay, but yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on it, and Ray can always let us know.
I was just about to say there was no comment, but my thinking is Ferrari ladies
Sorry, Ray, I can't hear you, mate. It's your mic's breaking up so bad there. I couldn't hear you at all. So apologies about that one, Ray, and apologies, viewers. Ray will be frantically smashing his microphone against the wall, against the floor, and telling the dog off for chewing the cable, because the dog does tend to like doing that. And it's a very frustrating situation when you're a commentator and your microphone's not playing up. Or sorry, your microphone is playing up, because there's not a lot you can do. Unplug it, plug it back in. That's about the most you can do, isn't it, Ray?
Better?
Oh, I heard you. Go on then. Let us know what your thoughts are.
Well, you have Ferrari, the top teams. Could they put Max Verstappen in there to say to the top teams, look, he's coming to Red Bull. No point in it.
Quite possibly. I mean, it is a possibility. I mean, there has been talk of Max Verstappen. I mean, Verstappen and his dad are very sort of outspoken people, and I think if he wasn't going to be in the Red Bull next season, then yeah, there'd be other teams looking to snap him up, the likes of McLaren. Probably not a good move at the moment. As you mentioned, Ray, Ferrari, and there is a connection with Toro Rosso and Ferrari. Toro Rosso's based in Italy, have had Ferrari engines, so that connection was there. But then there's also people that just quite simply don't like Danny Kvyat. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's an interesting situation. It'd be interesting to know what the viewers do think on that one, as we do now have quite a spread out grid. Let's see, RDB, he's in 7th place. I think John Rhinos has either made another pit stop or he has dropped off from him a bit. I'm just looking at the gap between RDB and Richie Davey. Let's see, RDB's 47 seconds behind the leader. Richie Davey's 49.8 seconds behind the leader. That's through sector 2. So we'll see if that gap comes down as they go across the start-finish line. But I tell you what, I think that might be John Rhinos and Will Butler in the background. I just saw going at it a little bit. Richie Davies now 50 off the leader and RDB's 47, so Richie Davies may be hurting his tyres. So Will Butler then is catching John Rhinos, could have DRS, has got DRS. Has he got the straight line speed to make a move? He's going for it. He's looking up the inside and he's late on the brakes as John's early on the brakes, and Will Butler gets the move made. He'll be absolutely delighted about that one, and he'll be even more delighted that it was on camera when it happened. But John Rhinos, he may be able to attack back, but he doesn't want to. I don't think he'll be wanting to put his car in a position that could ruin either driver's race, as he nearly gives Will a little bit of a nudge up the back end there. But John on the prime tyres, his braking is not going to be as good as Will's on those options.
Yeah, and Kvyat was getting close to Richter, but he's in his options on KZ.
So K-Slay's done, let's see, he's done option primes and he's pitted again for the option tyre. We've got the pit lane glitch going on here, which is a really annoying one. So he's going to come out in 5th place at the moment. But when you look at it, that's not a very long stint really on those prime tyres. It's only sort of 9-10 laps. Let's see, when was the first round of pit stops? Came lap 5, followed by 6 and 7. If you try and work that out towards the end of the race, we've still effectively got 21 laps left at the end of this race. So K-Slade could be going for a little bit of an interesting strategy here. But Richter, he did pit at the end of lap 5, so I've got a feeling he's going to have to pit this lap now to cover off K-Slade, because if he doesn't pit, K-Slade's going to get an enormous undercut on him. If he does pit, K-Slade's only going to get a bit of an undercut on him. So what do you reckon, Ray? Pits or not?
Nah.
You can't say no.
Okay.
He's already round the final corner, man. Come on.
I'm watching Hindo because team radio from Hindo saying Hindo's spacing himself to most of the
Okay, Ray, your mic's gone again, mate. Sorry, fella. Yeah, really annoying. I tell you what, mute it, do all your swearing and shouting, and we'll have another go. I mean, I feel for Ray in this situation. It's really, really annoying when you are trying to do commentary and all you're trying to do is have a conversation and it keeps going blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So let's see, Richter, he didn't make a pit stop. I'm surprised about that a little bit, but he's going to try and take these primes along. I mean, let's see, this is his 11th lap on those prime tyres. If he can do another 2 laps on them without losing too much time, he may be able to go for the 3-stop strategy. Mr. Hamilton 44, he has not pitted yet, but Will Butler and John Rhinos have pitted and they're coming out right next to the leader. We see Marussia in the background. I think that's from a Racing NW. It is. That's put him up to 10th place, and John Rhino now in 11th, and W running the option tyres. So we have got a sort of a potential bit of a battle with 9th, 10th and 11th, but for Will Butler though, in a way this has kind of worked out very, very well for a short period. He can follow the leader and work out where the guy's a little bit faster than himself. And the tricky situation for him, though, is he's on the option tyres, the leader's on the prime tyres. He'll be tempted to overtake, but if he just hangs on a moment, waits a lap, Mr. Hamilton 44, I'm fairly sure, will be heading for the pit lane.
Testing to see if it's working back properly.
A little bit. Will is having a look at Mr. Hamilton 44, but backs out of it. I'm just having a quick look at our pre-race notes to see if there was anybody who we missed out on commenting from. Let's see, from our racing NW, he did say that he had a bit of help from Hybrid Nuke and now only using medium traction control and is a little faster. First and second corners may decide if I get points basically by how many crash out. Well, none crashed out, but some did spin, and Will Butler's got DRS here, so he's going for the overtake, but as soon as he does, he's going to get blue flagged. But this is a situation where, in Will's situation, if you are legitimately faster and you can open up a gap and not get a penalty, you're perfectly within your rights to do so. If you're not, do exactly what he's done, pull over, let the leader back through. Okay, I mean, because really in a blue flag situation you shouldn't be overtaking the car that's ahead of you unless you have the speed to overtake and pull away. Okay, Mr. Hamilton 44 is still leading the race, and Hindle, he's 15 seconds off the leader at the moment. Both of them still running the prime tyre. Rickster is now 42 seconds off the lead. He has made a pit stop, he has gone to the option tyres, but K-Slay has not been able to get an undercut on him. I'm massively surprised about that. I think K-Slay will be as well. Perhaps he's just struggling a little bit for outright speed here, or perhaps he's just trying to look after the tyres, which he's not doing with that big lockup that he's just had. Richie Day in 5th place at the moment. He can't even see anybody else on the track, and he's 57 seconds off the lead, but that crash with Dave the Harp was a big factor on that. Andy Russell, I think, has recently made a pit stop on the prime tyres in 6th place, and Dave the Harp in 7th, and he has got RDB in 8th place, who's running option tyres, and I think Dave may have... Yeah, I was going to say Dave... Was that Dave that's just pitted there, Ray? RDB. So RDB, this is his second set of option tyres then, so these will be brand new, so he should be able to latch onto the back of the Dave the Harp fairly quickly here. Dave's prime tyres looking absolutely knackered right now. I just want to have a quick look to see whether Mr. 44 is going to go for the pits. He hasn't done this lap. See, Hindle hasn't either. Oh, Hindle's front right tyre is looking absolutely awful. Ray, if you could keep an eye on Mr. Hamilton 44 and let us know if he does go for the pit lane. But RDB is all over the back of Dave the Harp now. He's on the grippier tyre. He's going to have the DRS, so Dave is going to come under attack on the way down into turn 1. Catching, up alongside now. He's going to have the speed advantage, just needs to make sure he's on the brakes in plenty of time. Went back to the racing line, but if he's far enough ahead, it's perfectly fine to do so. So RDB then up to 6th place. But let's see, it was a minute 14 behind the leader. Andy Russell is a further 7 seconds up the road, but he is on a set of prime tyres, which I thought were new, but actually I think they may be a little bit old. They're a few laps old.
Yeah. Mr. Hamilton kept going.
Okay, so Mr. Hamilton has kept going. Let's see if Hindle, he has kept going as well. Rickster and K-Slay. Rickster is pulling away from K-Slay at the moment. So perhaps K-Slay's strategy not quite working for him. But this is a track where, for the drivers, it's kind of a Marmite track. You either love it or you hate it. And quite a lot of them do hate it.
I'm not that it's not great sort of tracks. It's not the worst of tracks, but think Michael's more track. In the pits.
I personally think that this track lacks a little bit of character. Mr. Hamilton, as Ray says, is into the pits, and I reckon this will be for a set of option tyres. No, he's going for another set of prime tyres. I'm surprised about that. Okay, he's done 15 laps. He's going to take this set of prime tyres to the end. If Hindle goes for the option tyres, I don't know. Yeah, he's going for the option tyres. Oh, you know what? I think if Hindle had gone for a 4-stop strategy here, using the options a lot, he'd close in the gap. He's going to be a lot faster on the option tyres now, but he was 14-15 seconds off the lead anyway, and Hindle is going to have to do an additional pit stop, but the option tyres can potentially be a hell of a lot faster than the prime tyres. And in 15 laps, when those prime tyres are absolutely dying, Hindle will be fast. But I tell you what, we have got as well, right behind Hindle is Rickster, as Nightwalker has he's got well out of the way. As he said, you'll see me, if I'm going to get laps, you'll see me so far off track, I'll be the first one to reach Brazil. Which I like that comment. So yeah, when we get to Brazil, Adam will already be there, tent up, barbecue on. Just make sure you bring the loo roll, Adam. So yeah, story of the race for towards the end then is going to be, can Hindle on a double option stint catch Mr. Hamilton 44, who's going to be on this set of primes to the end of the race. Now, Hindle should have Rickster and Casely covered off here throughout the course of the season. He has been faster than the both of them. But whether he can complete that challenge, all Casely into the pits then. So this will be his third stop. So I wonder if he's perhaps going to try and take a set of primes to the end. No, he's not. Let's see, Andy Russell in 5th place. He's coming into the stadium section now. Just wondering when he's going to be getting rid of that particular set of tyres. And then Formula Racing NW, his race is over, so he is making his way on towards Brazil. And Andy Russell is continuing on for another lap. And he's got his teammate behind him now in 6th place. Let's see, where is RDB? RDB, I tell you what, Dave the Harper's managed to stay very close to RDB. If Dave's still on the prime tyres, he's done a fantastic job there. May even have DRS. Oh, Dave's so fast down the straight at the moment. Up the inside on the prime tyre. What a fantastic move by Dave. If he's made it stick, he has. That's a great move there. He was able to hold on to the back of RDB once RDB had got ahead, but now perhaps sending a little bit of a message, do you reckon there, Ray?
Yeah. You can do better.
Yeah. David, I'm on the prime tyres, I just got past you. Now, Hindle has just set a new fastest lap of the race. I think I saw it saying a 1:18.1. So Hindle is going to be fast now, as Dave the Harp and RDB are still going at it through the S's, and we could have another change of position as Dave Harp goes defensive. Very easy to go deep on that corner. Switchback is available, but for RDB, he's just going to have to hold position for a moment, wait for that DRS, which he is going to get down the start finish. So stay close, and he will be ahead into turn 1.
Oh, Dave the Harp come very thick. He's going to touch that wall.
There's the Richie David defensive line, and then go on, what have you seen?
There's a wing on the start finish straight at the on the route.
Okay, RDB, we'll have a look at that in a moment. RDB, he's made the move up into turn 1. Let's see if we can get on board with then and see if we can spot this wing. Whereabouts was it, Ray? Is it
at the pit exit on
right at the end of the pit wall?
Yeah.
Okay, so well, go and have a look around the cars. Let's see who is missing a front wing. It is on the right on the exit of the pit lane there, as Ray mentioned. So it looks like someone may have lost a wing. I don't think it was Casely. He made his pit stop that we were expecting him to make a few laps ago. Andy Russell still running in 5th. Richie Davey is running in 6th. Will Butler, his race is over. It may have been Will Butler's front wing. Well, let's see, John Rhinos, he's in 9th place, running on a set of prime tyres. He's still got his wing intact. I mean, it's an interesting place to lose a bit of wing, really, at the end of the pit wall. But in all fairness, it is very, very easy to come out of the pits, too much throttle on, and spin the car into the wall. I'm not saying that is what has happened, but it's possible, or it could have just been there from an earlier collision that we did not spot. Mr. Hamilton 44, he's coming around the final corner to complete lap 24, and we'll have a look at what the gap is to Hindle. Well, at the moment it's 15.5 seconds, but we'll see if it comes down at all.
Yeah, Adam had to wait because he's had an aura, so he may be having a seizure soon, so that's why he had to make.
Okay, no problem. Your microphone is going again a bit there, Ray. What it almost sounded like I heard then was that Flora Racing NW has had a bit of an aura, which is a sign that he may be having a seizure soon. Unfortunately, Flora Racing NW, he does suffer from epilepsy, but thankfully there are now ways of getting a pre-warning, and one of the most brilliant ways, I think, is with the epilepsy dogs that I know Flora Racing NW has always wanted, and they allow their owners to sort of give them a bit of a nod to say, right, just check, because something might have changed. Okay, Hindle 15.5 seconds off the lead still. That gap's not coming down. I'm just wondering whether Hindle is just cruising it. He said before this race he doesn't need to win. He only needs to score a point, so he won't care what everybody else does as long as he gets that point. But he may still have to keep an eye on what's happening behind him. See, Rickster 26 seconds off the lead, Casely 43. But Rickster is going to have another stop to do. But the field is very, very spread out now. Is Rickster doing his stop? He is. He's into the pits then. And John Rhinos, he's also into the pits. Looks like he's changed to a set of option tyres. Rickster's gone for a set of prime tyres. That's his second set of prime tyres of the race. Perhaps he realised his option tyres are just not lasting long enough to do this last 10 laps of the race. So prime tyres for Rickster, that makes this a little bit more interesting. Casely will probably not know that Rickster has pitted and come out on the primes, but Casely's probably got another pit stop to do, so he's got a bit of a challenge on his hands. Pump in another couple of fast laps and then make a stop in one, maybe 2 laps time. And John Rhino's getting out of the way, or at least letting the car through. And Rickster will be trying to close that gap.
That last night in the World Championship, driver stopped 10 laps to go and putting the primes on. I thought that was a mistake.
No, what was happening last night, it happened to RMS Maranello, and it also happened to Bartman. They both had instructed, or they both said that they instructed their pit crew to fit option tyres. They drove into their pits. For RMS Maranello, they put on a set of intermediates, and for Bartman, they put on a set of primes. So neither of those drivers were particularly happy. So yeah, I mean, RMS Maranello did say to me, why have they put inters on? It's dry. Well, for himself, it was because at the start of the race, the pit strategy was pit twice for inters. So if there is any kind of complication with telling your team which tyres you want to go on, it's going to default to inters. For Bartman, I don't know what's happened there. He may have accidentally select primes. I mean, on one of my pit entries, on one of my pit stops, I was trying to select my tyre, and because I was steering when I was trying to do it, I was changing the brake bias, and I then ended up having to go quite slow before the pit entry to make sure that I didn't end up as. Anyway, let's see. Richie Richie Davey. He's in 5th place, running a set of option tyres, which I think will be coming off this car fairly soon. Andy Russell behind him. He's on a set of prime tyres. He must have... he's made another stop recently. He must have done. Running primes, trying to go primes to the end perhaps. RDB and Dave the Harp were battling earlier on, but Dave is nowhere near RDB at the moment. Dave is now on a set of option tyres, and John Rhinos, I just saw it pop up then, his race is over. So 27 laps into the Grand Prix, and it's a retirement for him that we know of. It may have been for another reason, but unfortunately we don't get that notification, but maybe the Williams team can let us know. I mean, for all we know, it could have been a retirement, it could have been any number of things. But Hindle, who's in 2nd place, is 17. He is cruising because he's 17 seconds behind the leader, and this will be a situation where if Mr. Hamilton 44 sends him a message saying I was faster than you and I was on the primes, Hindle will just say I was in lean. Because I mean, Hindle is in one of those joyous situations where all he needs to do is get to the end of the race. He gets to the end of the race, and unless he gets a post-race disqualification, Hybrid, send me a few quid, you never know what I can do. Hindle making his final stop. I am joking about that, by the way, before we get any rumours going. Yeah, I mean, Hindle finished the race, score a point, is the World Series champion. We won't be able to absolutely 100% confirm it until the review is done, but it is looking fairly comfortable at this time. K-Slate, he's in 3rd place. Is he going to be making a jump to the pit lane? Yes, he is. Oh, he's going to, well, let's see, 7 laps. He'll have 7 laps to try and claw in about 18 seconds on Rickster. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it, but Rickster's tyres aren't going to be particularly nice. We're right on board with K-Slay here, and we'll see the bit of front wing that Ray was going on about just on the left there. Definite damage to someone's car. You can see it again there. I tell you what, it looks like it had a bit of a red end plate, so it could have been Ferrari, it could have been Marussia. Okay, have we got any battles going on? Let's see, Andy Russell, he's into the pit lane. Richie Davey is going to pass him. Dave the Harp, he's coming up, he's ahead now of RDB, and RDB is right behind him, so attack of the Red Bull, take 5 down into turn 1. Why don't you take us through this one, Dave, if we could, Ray, if we could hear you.
RDB, DRS open. They've not got him behind him, he's got him way before. No, there's light on the brake, and the other one, he's keeping a wee sneaky upward in there. 1, 2, 3, keep me inside, so stay dark.
You got about 10 seconds in, and then your mic's died again.
I don't know what's up with it.
It's cutting out. The only way I can explain it is, and some guys aren't going to get this, Ray, are you old enough to remember Buck Rogers? Kind of went like that. But Dave, he went for quite an attack, a re-attack into turn 1 there. But what I like from RDB is he had the move done, and he saw that Dave was coming back at him. He gave him the room to allow him to have that chance, but Dave could not hold on to it. But Dave's now got going to have DRS, and it will be able to try and attack that way. I mean, it is possible, Ray, that... oh, I tell you, there's that bit of wing. We've got Ferrari in the pits. I think that... Is that K-Slay? Or will that be the race leader? That might be the race leader. Dave the Harp was not able to make the move. Let's see, it was Mr. Hamilton, 44. He has gone for a late pit stop. Put the option tyres on. But Hindle, he's made his last stop, and he's going to be... a fair chunk behind. He's not 36 seconds behind. We'll have to wait until he gets through 1 or maybe 2 of the sectors to get a legitimate reading on that. But it says 34.2, so maybe that could be the gap at the moment.
Yeah, John said it was too far behind to keep it going, but John, you've got some points out for the team because there's only 8 drivers in it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would always say is it doesn't matter how far back you are, how many times you've been lapped, keep going to the end, because even if you end up 3 laps down and in sort of 8th, 9th place, if a couple of the drivers get disqualified before the end of the race, bang, there's more points. If a couple of drivers get penalties before the post-race that perhaps could get them disqualified, boom, there's some more points. Now, admittedly, the Victoria's Secret Williams Racing Team, they don't particularly need extra points, but yeah, I would always say never give up.
Keep that ahead, turn 1.
Okay, you're right, Dave the Harp is ahead, and they've got the race leader, Mr. Hamilton 44, just ahead of them, and RDB trying to have a sneaky look and can't quite get his car into position for a move, though. He's later on the brakes and closes the gap, but not in position to try and make the overtake.
Could this be the changing until the last person over the line before the last lap? So at lap 35, no, last lap, whoever's behind gets the IS and then they're going to be in front.
It definitely could be. I mean, you saying that reminds me of myself and Kev 187 at Hockenheim a couple of seasons ago, and we literally, until it came to the last 2 laps of the race, because about 8 laps before it was like, okay, let's work this out. We've seen these guys switch places a number of times, and RDB is going to be making the move, but these guys, they have got to be thinking about this. Whoever makes the move into turn 1 on lap 55 could be the one that ends up ahead at the end of lap 36. So RDB moves up into 7th place, and we'll come and rejoin this battle. Ray, you keep an eye on that one. Mr. Hamilton 44, he's just gone and posted a new fastest lap of the race. Let's see what the gap is. The gap between himself and Hindle, 17 seconds. So, told you I didn't think it was 34. But yeah, 17 seconds between the two of them. But we've not really watched much of Mr. Hamilton 44, so until Ray shouts at me, we'll watch him taking his reserve drive. Yeah, just click your microphone. Well, I know what you mean then. But yeah, I mean, Mr. Hamilton 44 in as a reserve drive. In America, he showed he had pace. It was unfortunate to get the disqualification from footage or lack of footage, and I hope that he's got the full footage here today, because he has been very, very quick. I mean, even if Hindle is cruising, Mr. Hamilton 44 has still shown the rest of the drivers, if I'm racing against you next season, you're going to have to up your game.
Yeah, Dave's got by a second.
Yep, you're right there, he has. Perhaps Dave is playing that wise game, save a little bit of fuel, perhaps cool the engine a little bit, and then really push it in the final laps of the race. Let's see, Rickster, he's still holding 3rd place at the moment, 38 seconds off the lead. K-Slate is 13 seconds behind him. He won't, well, hopefully he won't give up, he'll keep pushing. That gap may be coming down, but one thing that I don't know yet, Ray, and you could always have a look, is whether any of the drivers that are still circulating have penalties.
Okay.
Richie Davey, he's 18 seconds behind K-Slay, and he may feel that those 18 seconds he lost in the collision with Dave the Harp earlier on. RDB is, let's see, 16 seconds behind Richie Davey, and Dave the Harp is barely a second behind. And I mean, Dave the Harp and Richie Davey both having that crash we didn't see, but I'm sure we'll get to have a look at it. Dave's struggling on his tyres. He's got no front end grip anymore. And it's very easy around this circuit to burn up those front tyres. I mean, for anyone that was wondering about my particular setup, I went with a low front wing around here because it doesn't overwork the front tyres. In the wet, though, it doesn't work. But Dave the Harp, he's locking up a bit more now. It looks like he's suffering a bit of understeer. The annoying thing is around here as well, though, is when the tyres start wearing, you can be absolutely fine through Sector 1 because there's not much to that sector. It's when you get through Sector 2 and 3 that the car begins to struggle. Let's see, who do we have in ninth place? We don't have a ninth place at the moment, so it's Mr. Hamilton leading. It's Dave the Harp in last place in eighth.
One person in the top four has 3 speaking penalties.
Oh, he'll be interested to see who that may be. Hindle, yeah, he's still cruising. He's lost a bit more time to Mr. Hamilton 44, who will be there just trying to pump in new fastest lap. And I've just remembered, Ray, someone's pre-race comments that we never actually mentioned.
Oh
yeah? Front Row Racing GP, as Mr. Hamilton 44 starts his final lap of the race. So this was Front Row Racing GP's pre-race comments, even though he's on holiday in Spain. Hola desde la soleada España, deseando que mi compañero de equipo todo lo mejor. Yo no podía dejar escapar de pi sin tener observaciones de la primera y única FRGP. And in Scottish, Ray, what was that?
So to speak, wishing my teammate for the best. I couldn't let the wear observation of the stand only.
Very difficult to hear you there again, Ray. As Mr. Hamilton 44 is coming into the stadium section. And I was trying to put that comment in there on purpose because one of Front Row Racing GP's teammates for this evening is about to come round the final corner for the final time here in Mexico to take the victory. A victory he felt he may have lost last week in America, but he's definitely shown what he's capable of here in Mexico. Hindle looks like he's coming home to finish in second place, and what will effectively be a confirmation or a pre-confirmation of taking the Front Row Racing World Series Drivers' Championship, and it is a fantastic feat to achieve that. So around the final corner he comes to take second place here in Mexico. Third place, Rickster, on a set of absolutely knackered prime tyres. Now I don't know who's got the in-game penalties yet, and I'm trying to sort of hazard a guess at which one it might be, and I'm hoping we do see Rickster on the podium, so I'm kind of hoping that it's not himself. But around the final corner he comes. I can hear Ray laughing, which means it probably is Rickster, but third place for Rickster, and K-Slay's tyres not looking too clever, but it'll be a fourth place finish for him. He won't be happy about how far off the lead he is, but he'll be happy with a fourth place finish. Fantastic result for him. Richie Davey in fifth place. I wonder if he managed to achieve his goal and get through the race without any penalties. Well, at least he's managed to get to the end of the race, and that'll be some, I tell you what, massively important points for the Sauber team. They've outscored Underdog Racing Red Bull, and I think his teammate has just crossed the line as well. He has. So over to the podium we go then. We have got Mr. Hamilton 44 on the top step, Hindle on the second step of the podium, and Rickster on the third step. And just to let you know what Front Row Racing GP's comments were, it was, hello from sunny Spain, wishing my teammates all the best. I could not leave DP without observations, but I think Google Translate was supposed to put views, without any views of the one and only FRGP. And I mention that because Front Row Racing GP is a Ferrari driver, loaned out his car to Mr. Hamilton 44 for this week, and Mr. Hamilton 44 went and stuck it on the top step of the podium. So we have a quick look here then. So only 8 getting to the end of the race. A lot of penalties going in there. Rickster did have quite a few penalties. K-Slay had one himself. Ooh, even if...
wasn't when I checked.
Well, if K-Slay hadn't have got his penalty, Rickster would have just still stayed ahead. Yeah, only just. So it was very, very close between those two on the timing screen at the end. Okay, viewers, if you have any questions for the drivers that are going to be on the podium interview, now's the time to send them in on the comments, put at Ray, and then ask your question. We'll try and get over to them. I'm just going to have to pop onto a blue screen for a moment so that I invite the drivers into the chat party. Hindle, I'm sure, will be celebrating this one. I mean, obviously it is only provisional, but unless he gets disqualified, he's pretty much got the title in the bag. So I make sure I don't invite the wrong people here. Let's see. Rickster, Hindle, and Mr. Hamilton at 44. I'll send those invites out to those. We'll open up our commentary box, get some seats ready for them to rest their weary arms. But an interesting-ish race, I think. There, I mean, for the Ferrari team, Mr. Hamilton 44. Getting that result, absolutely fantastic. For Hindle, getting the result that he has, absolutely fantastic. But I mean, for action on the day, I think sort of RDB and Dave the Harp have got to be commended on the fantastic battle that they were having. Now, I believe that all three drivers have joined us. Have they, Ray?
Yeah, just up.
Okay, right, drivers, if you can please make sure that you have got your... Right, Hindle just joined us. Yeah, drivers, if you can please make sure that you have got your microphones set to allowed to be shared. Now, I wouldn't usually do this, but you know what, Hindle, if you want to do a provisional cheer, I'll let you. Go on.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Is that who do you think you are, Zack Ryder? Woo woo woo! Come on, you can do better than that, fella.
It's you know what I mean. I know it's provisional, but you don't know what happens. I don't want to jinx anything. It's corrupt footage. You don't know what's going to happen. So we'll wait till midnight.
That is true. Okay. Well, we're not going to question you first of all, but I tell you what, just give me 1 second, folks, because I have realised that Hindle's microphone is sounding a little bit crackly as well, so it could be mine that's a problem, so bear with me 1 second. Okay, do a quick...
all along.
Maybe that was just my way of really annoying you all the way through. Now, if it was mine, I apologise, Ray. I didn't know. I'm sat in the dark to save me electric. Okay, on to our race winner, Mr. Hamilton 44. Mads, are you there? Okay, you might need to turn your microphone level up a little bit. You were quite quiet there. Don't be afraid of turning it up quite nice and loud so the viewers can hear you. Yeah, I'm struggling to hear you a bit there. Ray, can you hear him?
I can hear him a bit. Just shout through the rooftops.
Yeah, just don't shout like Hindle does. Woo! Right, okay.
I won't.
Okay, Mads. I know that after last week's race in America, you were pleased but disappointed with the ending result. So don't tell us if you've messed up your footage. Don't tell them. So how does it feel? How does it feel to win the race here today in Mexico?
It feels good. Definitely. Finally, I got a win. I had a rubbish start, but kept sick just in the first second. And from there on, it was just about overtaking Rickster and then pacing myself.
Well, once you managed to get ahead of Rickster, you were able to pull away. Was it a fairly comfortable race after that?
Yeah, no doubt. Very comfortable for the race. Had a 10-second lead for the first stint, so no problems.
Okay, quick question for you. I think on lap 26, you put a set of prime tyres on. Was your plan to take those prime tyres all the way to the end?
I think I put on the primes on lap 22, actually, or 21. I don't know.
Oh, yes, you did. Sorry, my mistake. It was 21.
Yeah.
So,
and then I knew I would switch to Cesare for the laps.
So the strategy was always to go option, prime, option?
I did the prime option.
Yeah. Okay, well, it worked for you. You have taken the victory. You can pretty much guarantee that Hindle's going to say in a moment, well, I was cruising. So that might put a bit of a dampener on it, but it doesn't take away the fact that you have won the race here, and very, very well done. We might come back to you in a few moments' time. We'll go on to Hindle. Okay, Hindle, barring anything weird, effectively you could be the Front Row Racing World Series champion. I know that this race all you needed to do was score a point. You knew it. You're not going to sit there and say, I was cruising, was you? Are you?
No, I mean, pace that he's shown, I mean, what was his quality time? I think it was 16. The quick time we were seeing there, that's 2-3 tenths off my PB, so I knew straight away if I qualified, it'd have been miles in front. He was gaining and gaining. There's some points where I was just saving fuel, facing health. There's some points where I was pushing, I wasn't gaining. So, yeah. I had about in fuel, but I probably knew when the first stint was over, when I got into P2, the gap was 10 seconds, so I knew then I wasn't going to catch him.
Yeah. I mean, trying to put it into perspective for the viewers, and apologies, viewers, if there is some dodgy microphone going on. Obviously, we've got some problems this evening. But, I mean, for the viewers, they'll sit there and think, oh, yeah, it's easy for him. All he needs to do is score a point. But just how nerve-wracking is it doing 36 laps knowing you can't afford... Well, you can afford to make a mistake, but you really can't, if that makes any sense. Try and explain to him just how nerve-wracking that situation can be when it seems to be an easy one.
The back on mid sure I was last. It was turn one. The first few laps was just very nervous because I was side by side with a few cars. I was praying I didn't get put into the wall, crashed out, that sort of stuff. But once I got into P2 and started pulling away, I just calmed myself down, just put the laps in, made sure I didn't get a penalty.
So was it more enjoyable going from the back of the grid to second place, or is it more enjoyable getting pole and driving off into the distance for the win?
It's definitely more enjoyable starting at the back because, well, no disrespect to anyone, but I've not really raced anybody this season. My teammate in a few races, but most races I've been on my own. But yeah, I do like starting from the back. It's an experience.
It is. It definitely is. Anyway, very well done to you on second place here in Mexico, and for potentially wrapping up the Front Row Racing World Series Championship, or I shouldn't say it that way, the Front Row Racing World Series Drivers Championship. So yeah, congratulations on both of those. We'll quickly move over to Rickster, who would have been giggling to himself about the woo 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 comment, because I know you're into a bit of the old watching men in tights doing a bit of wrestling.
Yeah.
So, how did your race go?
I'm confused to where my pace went, because in practice I thought I was really quick, like in the front row racing practice and on my own. Like the sessions I was doing like 16.4s, 16.5s in quali, and in quali in this session, in the race, I just couldn't get anywhere near it, nowhere near it, and I saw obviously Mr. Hamilton's time 16.2, and that is like Kendall said, is a ridiculously fast lap around it. But yeah, I'm just confused when my pace went. Really don't know what happened.
So, try and explain to the viewers then what it's like when you're driving around and you've got that confusion.
But it put me off, like, for a whole lot of, for the good first half of the race. I was just getting so annoyed and so angry at the fact that I've been so quick throughout practice, and in the race my pace has just gone. It just kept making me miss apexes. As you can see, all my penalties came I got 4 penalties. All them came in the first half of the race. It just completely threw me off.
It does sort of show, or it gives the viewers an idea of just how such a small thing can have such a massive effect in that situation. Because you had the pace, you were battling quite comfortably early on. I mean, when you were battling in that opening stint of the race, did you? I'm guessing you were thinking, I've got a chance of the win here.
Well, when I saw obviously Hamilton got a bad start, I was like, right, from now on I'd get my head down and just go and get away from him, but I just couldn't. Like, I was going so slow, and as soon as he got past me, he opened like a second on me in one lap.
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
Yeah, it soon becomes a snowball effect. Yeah, very annoying. But you should be very pleased with third place. I mean, it was.
Don't get me wrong, it was nice to finish third because I know that GP didn't race this weekend, so I've gained quite a few points on him.
Yeah,
so
well,
these were main targets. So.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, yourself and Dave the Harp were on exactly the same points. You're now going to be ahead of Dave the Harp and closer to GP. I mean, the constructors, it doesn't really make much difference to how many points you score. But the driver's one is what's important to the driver. So very well done to you, Rickster. Ray, we'll move over to you. Do we have any questions from the viewers?
No, they're all keyboard shy tonight.
Keyboard shy? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll just have to give them a few more questions. So, guys, what's a bum brusher? What's a bum brusher?
Someone that brushes your bum.
You're just as bad as Ray. I'll let you go and Google that one. Okay, I'm going to go back to Mads Sorensen. Okay, Mr. Hamilton 44. Obviously, he had a good showing in America last week. Didn't end up the way you would have liked it to. Mexico, obviously, has gone very, very well this week. I'm guessing you'll be hoping you get another message for next week saying we invite you to come and drive our car.
Yeah, obviously. But the aim is to race in the World Championship. It's not a drive there, it was assist.
Well, when the opportunities come, you've got to take them, and that is exactly what you have done today. So, very well done to Mads Sorensen, that's Mr. Hamilton 44, and Hindle, who took second place, and Rickster, who took third place. So, Hindle, before we get rid of you all, I was just wondering how you thought John Rhino's race went.
I thought he was doing all right. He was battling with me in the first few laps, which I was pleased to see. I mean, at first I was like, get away. But then I thought, well, he's there to show what he can do. Why not? Get battle me. And then he was in a point, there was only 9 people left. I think he left. I don't know if he had a crash or whatever, but he would have been in the point.
Yep, that he would. Okay, Rickster, on to you. What about your teammate, reserve driver? I'm not sure if you were in contact with him during the race, but how do you think Will's race was going?
I wasn't speaking to him during the race. I didn't really see much of it over. I have no idea how his race went.
Okay, well, it was going okay, then it wasn't going so okay, and then it ended with an early retirement, I believe. Okay, we'll end it there. I think there was a collision, there may have been a collision with Rich Davey. I know Dave the Harp had a crash with Richie Davey. I don't know.
In the pit exit, who that was.
No, we don't either. We saw it, but we have no idea whose it was. But I doubt it's still there. No, I doubt it. Someone may come along and let us know who it was. I mean, it's a question, I think, of whether they hit the pit wall on the way out of the pits or whether they hit the pit wall on the races track side of it. Either way, could have been a bit interesting to see, but we missed it. Anyway, right, we'll bring this to an end. So, drivers, thank you very much for joining us on the podium interviews. Viewers, thank you very much for joining us to watch the Front Row Racing World Series. And next time, get some more questions in for the podium drivers, and we'll try and have some better questions of the day for you next week. But yeah, very well done to the drivers, and thank you to the viewers. And Ray, also just quickly check whether we've had any post-race comments from any of the drivers.
No, we haven't. But I don't know. I'm gonna say something, but
Okay. I couldn't really hear what you were saying then, but okay. Right, I'll bring this to an end then. Next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be tomorrow evening, 7:30 p.m. for round 18 of the FRRI Days Cup at Brazil. The FRRI Days Cup being the feeder series into our F1 leagues. That's where the likes of Mr. Hamilton 44, John Rhinos, even Hindle and Hybrid Nuke have come from. So join us for that at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow evening, and then later on tomorrow night, and about 9 p.m. will be the Project Cars Fridays round 4 race in the Lotus Type 72D, very old F1 car, at Donington Park in potentially very stormy weather. Next up for the Front Row Racing World Series will be next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. That'll be for round 18 at Brazil, so you're more than welcome to come and join us for that one. Thank you very much for watching. We've been Front Row Racing, and we'll see you all again soon.